how long do you think it takes most students to, let's say they come through our program?
Okay, this is a great question.
They come through our program, they take they get familiarized with it with the online training. They come for 5-day hands-on training.
This is a great question with more than one answer because I know where you're going with it.
So, what is it? How long does it take till someone starts feeling good?
To answer your question, some girls leave the class natural. The second they get in, they just get it, right? And they hit that ground running and they're fine. Some girls, it takes a little bit more time. I mean, I knew girls, we've had a few girls that when they walked out of class, we thought this isn't for them. And so we've worked with them. We don't just send them out and say, okay, go work on clients. We'll say, let's practice a little bit more. Let's get you on latex. Let's FaceTime. Let's do some assignments. And I will tell you, the ones that stick with it and practice, they're more successful than the ones that got it right out the door. Which also kind of leads me to, don't compare yourself to anything or anybody. Comparison is the thief of joy. So maybe the person sitting next to you in class is better right then and there, but in 6 months, you might be better. So run your own game. Keep your blinders on and just focus on your own course. Don't think about what other people are doing. And if you don't get it right away, don't give up. You keep on going. To make it in this industry, it takes grit. It takes dedication. There's plenty of times where I've wanted to quit and I've wanted to be like, what am I doing? This is so hard. That learning curve is real. But once you get it, it is the best thing you'll ever do.
When you've got a lot, students that come in that have gotten trained elsewhere, what's kind of the common thing that you're seeing that these girls are coming with? Like, can you kind of see what they're learning out there, and then they come and get reset?
Okay, now I can't badmouth every course out there. There's some great classes out there, right? I'm not saying that just because we teach it one way, it's the only way. You love to say there's more than one way to skin a cat, and it's true. There's more than one way to do things. Although I'd like to think that my way is the only way, I understand there's other ways out there. But there's certain things in permanent makeup that you just can't do. No matter who's teaching it, it's just a no-no. You can't get your lines too close together. They're going to blur. You can't tilt your tool. It's going to blur. You can't not stretch the skin. It's going to blur. You go too deep. It's going to go gray. It's going to blur. You don't know color theory. You can't put any red in to a pigment if somebody has purple undertones. There's just certain things that you cannot do, right? So when these girls come to class, they're taught to do things that are big no-nos. Like, you just can't do them. So then we're retraining them on everything. A lot of girls only learn one hair pattern. So if somebody's hair pattern is growing up, and I'll have Jared post pictures of this later somewhere, you guys can go look at it. If somebody's hair pattern is going up and you do an Asian hair pattern on them, it's going to look crosshatched the whole time. It's going to look like you've got plus signs everywhere. That's just a no-no. So there's certain things that you just can't do that they're taught to do. And so then we wind up retraining them. A lot of girls will come take a refresher course with us after they've trained elsewhere. And I wish I had the extra 2 days. I wish they would take a 5-day so that I could really, really make sure that they understand fully what I'm trying to teach. And once they've been in bad habits, sometimes they're harder to break. And I want that extra time with them.
That's, as far as us merging the refresher course, I think that's a big reason why I think we should do it.
Okay, so what he's talking about is, we used to offer a refresher course at a separate point, but we've decided to actually so we have a 5-day fundamental course, and we've now offered that people who want to take the refresher can come in for the first 3 days of the 5-day fundamental, because most of the time they realize how little they know and wish they had more time, and that gives them the opportunity to then extend and stay the full 5 days, or if they feel like they understand it, they're ready to get home, they can leave after the 3 days.
The refresher course, when we set it up, it's basically the first 3 days of the 5-day hands-on training. The main difference is the last 2 days, so you're not going to work on as many models. So with that 3-day course, we spend those 2 days going over the classroom stuff, fundamentals, working in small groups, drawing and practicing doing hair strokes on the different synthetic skins. And then on that 3rd day, you'd work on your model, the refresher course, and be done. But with so many students, we give them the option, I guess, now, to where if they feel like, all right, I do need some more hands-on time, they can stay for those extra 2 days for the full 5 days.
So instead of hosting the refresher course on a different week, we've now just given them the option to take the beginning part of the 5-day fundamental And then that allows them, if they want to add on an extra 2 days, they can just stay for the rest of the class. So I mean, I would say that the majority of girls that come in for just the refresher part, they've trained elsewhere, they feel like they don't quite have it, their colors aren't right, their retention isn't there, they're not sure about their depth. So when they come in and they're just wanting to take that for the first 3 days, the majority of the time they wind up staying for the full 5 because they realize how little they were taught and that they just need to like hone in that skill a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
I always say, if you've been working on some clients since you got your original training, but just maybe deep down inside you realize you're not getting something, you have a lot of questions when you're working and you're kind of doubting yourself, then that 3-day refresher course is a great option as long as you have some confidence in working on your own. But if you don't even dare work on anybody just because you didn't learn enough, then definitely consider the 5-day.
Okay, and I can appreciate that from your point of view. But from an instructor's point of view, who's actually in there with these girls, I would say that a lot of them go into the class just questioning a few things, let's say like you said, realizing quickly though that they don't know what they need to know. They don't know all 3 hair patterns. Their stretch is not there. They cannot draw a brow if their life depended on it, which is so important. If you can't draw me a good brow on paper, you should not be tattooing one on someone's face. I mean, really, like.
And that makes sense.
So, and if your healed results aren't where they should be, then you need to be taking another class and getting them there. We charge a lot of money for this technique, right? So you want to give your clients their money's worth. Like, sure. They deserve to have healed results that are amazing. And they deserve that, I don't know. So basically what I'm saying is, from your point of view, when you talk to them on the phone, you may say, if you're questioning your work,
that's just kind of a quick gauge. A lot of times I'll have them send me a picture and I'll forward it to you, and you'll say.
But the reality is, most girls need a full 5-day.
Oh,
that's just kind of my.
No, that's good.
And I don't want to blanket it and say every girl. There's plenty that have come through that were actually pretty good, and they just needed to fine tune a few things, and 3 days was enough. But the majority need that extra couple days. That's just.
No, you mentioned money, and I think that's a kind of a good thing. I always crack up because I get the question all the time. They're comparing our school, and I know they're comparing us to others because they ask the same questions. So many times they're so concerned about what comes in their microblading kit with the training. That's kind of just a perk. You're not coming to get trained to get the kit. You're coming for the education. But I laugh.
Which, by the way, we do give you a good kit. But you shouldn't judge a course on the kit. You should judge it on the education that you're getting. But we do. I mean, I would put our training against any single trainer out there any day. Yeah. Any day I would go head to head with any other person out there. I think that we cover everything they need to know. We hold nothing back. I've taken a few classes with people where it was shocking to me how they would kind of save little secrets. Like, they wouldn't tell you everything. Maybe they were scared of the competition, or you're going to get better, or like they don't want to release. I don't care. Everything that I know is for you to know.
And it's funny, that's definitely talking with students and just seeing what other people are doing. There is this kind of fear of like, oh, this is my information. You can find all the information that we teach online. You can find all the information that all the instructors teach online. You're coming to a course to learn from that particular instructor. It's like, I always say, it's kind of like riding a bike. And until you have someone there to catch you and help you and see what you're doing wrong, you're going to go through a lot of crashes. And so to come to a hands-on training, you're getting that guidance and someone there. And now it just depends on, okay, what type of instructor do I want to go to? Do I want someone that's going to guide me and help me?
Can I touch base on what you just said about you can find anything online? I think one of my pet peeves is that there's these Facebook groups, right? So girls will post a question, and they'll get 50 different answers back. You're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. But the ones that are giving them advice are girls that trained 2 days ago, right? Or girls that are giving wrong. So I just think you need to be very hesitant about how much information you're actually picking up and using from these online groups. Look at who's giving you the information. Go look at their work and make sure you want to take advice from them, because a lot of these girls that are saying, you're doing this wrong, this is the color you need to use, they trained 2 days ago, so they don't really know yet themselves.
Or you're getting conflicting advice from different types of training techniques.
It gets confusing.
And that goes back to my point. You're the value of 3D Brows Academy is when you come into that training, it's the type of attention you're going to get, the type of adaptability with the instructors being able to adapt to you. They're Jenny and Jamie. You guys do kind of teach different ways of doing things, but it still comes around full circle, and it's kind of nice because the students, they might be sitting with you for one model the whole time, and then on the next model they're sitting with Jenny or Jamie who have the same core fundamentals, but they kind of have their own little tricks.
Oh yeah, I totally think it's so good to have all three instructors in there. It's like you're getting three different classes. You pick up a little tip from her or a little trick from her, or maybe Jenny vocalized it better than I did and you understood the way that she explained it better than I can. Or I think it is so important to have different instructors in there, and for us to be able to adapt to how that student needs to learn. Totally.
But the general direction is consistent.
Oh yeah.
And so that's kind of the important part of it, is going somewhere that's going to, adapt with what you need and help you through their experience, figure out, okay, I had another student similar to this, and this is how they picked it up. Let's try that. And you can do that. But the biggest difference with most of the trainers is the type of instruction you're going to get there, and then the follow through. Are they going to continue supporting you?
We do have a great support team, and I can credit a lot of that to you, Jared. And any of these students will say, maybe Jared misspells everything that he sends you in an email. Yeah. He was meant to be great at everything else except for spelling, but he is so responsive and hands-on and there to help these girls. So if he can't answer the question for you, he forwards me every email, and he'll make sure that I went in and I read it and I answered it. And if you can't get through to me, then you'll send it to Sandy, who runs the actual office that I'm at. There is so much follow through and so much support after the class. Nobody feels like they're just left, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it.
And we do, and there's a reason for that. It's, a lot of trainers like to boast that they're jet setting around the world and world known. And sure, so I guess we're world renowned too, because students come from overseas. But since we're not traveling and jet setting, we're able to take that time because, we've had our fair share of travel, and I don't know how these guys are able to take the time to help their students when they're traveling all the time. And they can't, so that's why they're outsourcing it to someone that maybe recently got certified by them within the last year, 2 years, or 2 weeks. Who knows?
Yeah, the term master is always a little bit hilarious to me. There's always, there's these big name, Jared likes to call them celebrity trainers.
Well, they like to call themselves
that have made a very big, they're very good at marketing themselves and their name, and a lot of it is smoke and mirrors. So you think you're going to train with this one guy, and then you get all these assistants that are just kind of helping him. You never get to see that one trainer. You don't get to train with that one trainer. So I think that's kind of where you're going with it, is that we have that one-on-one. We don't outsource.
Yeah, it's more of a personal thing. We I'm sure you could probably make a lot more money by
outsourcing,
traveling and outsourcing,
franchising. And I've even hit up a lot to franchise our academy, and to kind of, I'm not interested in it. I don't, that's not what this is about. We're not about making money, which I think it's a core difference between us.
Somewhat, but.
Well, what I'm saying is it's a core difference between us and all these other ones. For us, if it was all monetary, we would be outsourcing this, we would be franchising it. We keep our classes small. We cap them out. We don't overtrain so that we don't get burnt out. We don't travel. We stay only here so we can give them all the best education with all the resources that we have here at the academy. And I forgot what else I was going to say.
You can kind of see the personality of the trainers by the type of training they do. We're a lot more family oriented. We don't want to leave. We don't,
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So many of these girls have paid to take this online training, and they can't pass certain levels